Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. My name is Katie Rafferty and I work at the Tree Council. And thank you very much for finding the time to come along to our Young Tree Champions introductory webinar. At the Tree Council, we work together with corporate organisations, with schools, community groups and charities for the love of trees. And with the Young Tree Champions programme, we work together to be a force for nature. We want you to help encourage young people to not only notice nature, but to be a force to support it. And we're going to give you a little bit more information today, this afternoon, about how you can help do that in schools and the different packs that are available to you as part of our programme to help support that within your school grounds. A reminder, there is a Q&A function on this webinar, so you can use that Q&A to ask questions. We will pause at different points throughout the webinar just to answer any of those questions as they come up. And there will be a final Q&A session at the end as well. First of all, I'd like to thank M&G, our partners, who really help us to make this work. They are our main sponsors and funders. And without them, we wouldn't be able to do the work that we do in schools across the UK to encourage young people to be a force for nature. So a really big thank you to M&G for all the support that they give to us. We also work with a lot of other partners, some of which you may have already worked with, that you may be familiar with. And the programme that we offer complements a number of other programmes. And so we hope that this will help feed into other work that you're doing, that you might be considering doing to support nature, to support the environment within your school. We work with organisations such as Speakers Trust, and we'll give a little bit more information about that later. Teach the Future, encouraging careers, careers in green areas. Eco schools, this is a really popular add-on to support eco schools and their status. A lot of schools that work with us also work with them. Forest School Association is another really big one. We work with a lot of forest schools and other organisations that you can see on there to support us with our research and support with learning outdoors. And we really do like to work in collaboration, and hopefully you can be a part of that too. So we're going to whiz through quite a few different things in this webinar. You're going to meet the team, which is an exciting thing for me to say, because we've never had this team at Young Tree Champions, so I will introduce them in a moment. We are going to look at the application process, the nitty-gritty of what you need to do for a tree starter pack and what you need to do for a Trees and More project pack. We're going to look at the training and resources that are available for those, and that might help you decide which pack is more suitable for you and your school and your needs. And then we're going to have a little bit of information from Shinfield St Mary's Junior School on their journey to becoming an outstanding beacon, and really offering an example of all of the amazing things that you could do in your school just to get those ideas flying and brains whirring. So like I said, I'm going to introduce you to the team. We are very lucky to have developed a regional team this year for the first time as part of Young Tree Champions. We are a programme that is in its 4th year, and this year we're lucky to have a team of people working across the UK to help bring this to life in schools. So I will let them introduce themselves now.
Okay, hi, I am Ellie. I am the regional lead for the North East. I'm based in West Yorkshire. Obviously, I'm happy to travel north and to travel south from there to meet up with schools and assist in whatever ways are needed. I'm an extrography teacher, so I am very used to the workings of a school, and I've got lots of experience in schools, but I'm really excited to just get out and get helping aspiring young tree champions across the North East.
Hi, I'm Emma Sweeney. I'm the regional lead for the South East of England. I've been a primary school teacher for 28 years. The last few years I've been focusing on Forest School, which I'm also doing as well. So I work in 2 different schools. One of them is an outstanding beacon school, Rolfe Church of England Primary, and the other became a beacon school last year. They were very excited. And that's Great Clacton. I'm looking forward to working in the area. I'm really pleased with the area I've got, because I've got cousins in Norfolk and I went to university in Kent and lots in between. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matt Knight. I am the regional leader for the South and South Wales. I'm also head of ecology and a primary teacher at Shimble St Mary's Junior School near Reading, which is also an outstanding beacon school. And I've also run a fruit tree charity called Freely Fruity. So a bit of experience there, been on a journey for about 7 years. So hopefully you'll be able to impart some of that to you guys today.
Hi everyone, I'm Louisa Brown. I cover Scotland and I'll be delivering a little bit in the northeast of England as well. I come from not a teaching background, actually, a youth work and also youth and schools engagement through multiple different charities and environmental projects. So very happy to answer any questions related to Scotland and potentially the northeast of England as well. And the rest of the webinar is going to be presented by my four lovely colleagues here, so I'll be listening in.
Fabulous, thank you. And we also have Grania, who is covering the northwest as well, who's not able to be with us today. We have Ben, who is an ambassador. He wears many hats, Benjamin Haycock. He's an ambassador for us. He tours with our Force of Nature exhibition, which will be mentioned, and he's also covers Devon and Cornwall. Myself, I'm based in the north of England. I am also formerly a secondary school teacher and senior leader, and I will also be supporting with Northern Ireland. And in terms of if you have any questions about the programme following this webinar that come to you at a later date, if you email our school's email address, they'll be forwarded on to the relevant regional lead. They'll be able to support you with applications. And for those who are successful, they will be able to support on an ongoing basis for the remainder of the year with planting and activities and ideas and anything that you might need. They'll be your first port of call.
Okay, so why become a tree champion? Well, put quite simply, trees are massively important, not just from an environmental point of view. I think everybody on this call probably understand or have some appreciation of the power of trees and the carbon sequestration and things like that. But it's also about the tangible things about touching and becoming part of nature. Getting children involved with that is so very important. But before we get into that, we're going to have a look at what barriers there could be. So as you can see, some rather scary figures here. Under 18s, so 3/4 of under 18s are currently anxious about the climate. That's a staggering number of people. Also, only 3/4 again of children get outside. Well, 3/4 for less than an hour a day. That's absolutely mind-blowing. I think if you think back, I don't know the average age on here, but I'm maybe getting on a bit. But when I was back, it would be you come back when it's dark, and that's pretty much how it was. Whereas now, you're very lucky if your kids will go out at all. So that's in itself a bit of a barrier. Then you have to look at the socio-economic side of it. So we found that with the research that there's a 46% gap between those who are financially better off and those who aren't really. So that in itself, you'll tend to find there is the economic barrier as well. And then you have the sad apathy that comes with children. Some children just think they're powerless. They think, who's going to listen to my voice? Why is it important? Why do I need to bother getting involved with this? There's really no point. And to a certain extent, you can probably see why that comes about because of the government and the way that they deal with even corporations and stuff. So it's our job, I guess, to try and really empower them to say that collectively we can make quite a big difference. So to overcome that is one of the barriers. And then the final barrier that we identified was nature poor. So unfortunately, quite a large number of our schools in Britain have little no green or trees, and that is quite unfortunate for the learning of those children. And actually, if you look across Europe, we are the worst. So this can only help. And even schools that have no grass, no places to plant trees, we still offer a solution for you. So every single one on this call should hopefully be able to access some kind of trees.
And now we're going to have a look at the benefits of being part of the Young Tree Champions can give you. We found that 93% of children that are involved in the project become more engaged with nature. It helps improve their well-being. It helps them feel a sense of belonging to the school, a sense of belonging to nature, of belonging to the world. It helps them to learn about trees, not just planting them, but the nature and the diversity behind it and how to care for them afterwards. Learning to care and share, planting their trees, telling people about them, having a responsibility. They are responsible for the trees of the future.
And there are obviously wider benefits as well to taking part in this project. The project, as we've already talked about, links to other initiatives that a lot of schools already have. It links to things like forest schools and eco schools, especially. It links to the sort of wider strategies to be more sustainable within school and within communities as well. Schools that are taking part have found that they get much better Ofsted reports, as we will see later. And it also links to an ongoing change in sort of the way in which outdoor learning is focused upon, and the agenda that has sort of improved within outdoor learning.
Okay, so let's have a quick look at the timeline. Very basic timeline we have here. So step one, obviously the plan. It's very important that you establish what it is that you're trying to get out of these projects. Probably not a good idea to do what I did 4 years ago and just start sticking trees everywhere. Doesn't work out. Okay, so you definitely need to have some kind of aim, some kind of plan. That's very important. You do need permission. Again, in most schools, that'll be your local borough. If you're not owned by a local borough, then I guess it will be your MAPS or whatever. And then you're going to be looking to recruit your pupils. So that may be your class, a year group, the whole school, or even a club. That will be down to you. Step two, you need to apply by the 3rd of November. So vitally important. And it has been said that if the uptake is high, then we'll close earlier than that, but that will be the latest that we'll take applications, to try and get them in sooner rather than later. Step three, so obviously trees go in between November and March, so you'll be getting your trees sort of early December kind of time. If you're successful, we'll be planting those in the winter, springtime, and then you'll be looking in the spring, summer term to be running some kind of projects to celebrate your planting and to look at what you managed to do over that year. And then finally, step four, 1st of June. This looks quite early. I know a lot of you probably thinking this school ends near enough the end of July, but the reason for that is we have a Force for Nature festival which runs at the beginning of July, and that's where we like to celebrate everybody who's made beacon status. So that gives us enough time to go through the applications and notify those people who are going to get up to beacon, or outstanding beacon as it were.
So we're going to have a look now at the application process. You can apply either for a starter pack or for a trees and more projects. So in a starter pack, you get a basic tree pack option. You can have access to our online training. There's lots of previous CPD training available as well, and to online resources and activity ideas. If you apply to become a project school, there's a wider selection of tree packs available. There's the opportunity to have online and in-school training. There's the opportunity to have in-school workshops from one of our regional leads. There are tech kits, which will be explained to you a little bit later on. There's lots of online resources and activities and ideas you can use. We have had ambassador master classes, so each school has had junior ambassadors, and we have a Force for Nature exhibition later in the year.
So this slide is just to sort of go through what the differences are in these tree packs. So if you apply for a starter pack, you get an orchard pack, which is just the 5 trees, and then you can also apply for a hedgerow pack, which is a mix of whips that would make up a hedgerow. Project pack, you get more choice, so you pick from one of the 3. So you can pick an orchard pack like the starter pack, or you can pick a broadleaf pack, or you can pick a container pack. Now the container pack is really aimed at schools that have no feasible place to plant their trees in the ground. A container pack, you would require a container to be sought, possibly from a local garden centre or some other way of getting hold of that container. And the issue with the container pack is simply that it will need a little bit more care. Especially across the 6-week holiday, for example, it needs watering. So it requires a little bit more thought, maybe. So we would advise that that's only for schools that have no feasible outside space, really. The tree packs all come with the posts, the ties, the wire guards. The hedgerow pack doesn't come with those bits. So that's just something, again, that you might need to consider when what you're applying for.
Okay, so the application form itself, I'm guessing if you're here, you probably haven't filled this in yet, or maybe you have and you're just very keen, but I'm just going to go through it very briefly with you. It really is designed to make sure that these 4 things are being covered. We don't really, as Ellie and Emma said earlier, there's no point us sending out trees if they're going to die. So we really want to encourage you guys to take ownership, and this application form will really help you to do that. The permissions will make sure that you've sourced that in the application. The planning, again, have you actually looked at it in detail at how this is going to be watered, how it's going to be kept, the aims, again, why are you doing it, and then what activities you plan to do with it. So it's not astrophysics, however, it does require a few minutes time, and if there is anything on this application form that you do find difficult, please just contact us at the Tree Council, either the Tree Council itself or your regional leads, and we will happily just have a call with you and talk you through it, because we really want as many of you out there as we can to sign up.
Sorry. Okay, the project application is quite simple. The form is very similar for both projects, whether you're applying for a tree pack or whether you're applying to become a project school. What you need to think about is activities that you are going to link towards your project, activities to help you connect, learn, care and share. You might think of a title and a name for your project. One of my schools were called the Woodland Pond Warriors, the other were just Young Tree Champions. Think about the intended impact for your school and the wider benefits.
Sorry, equally sorry. Okay, so there's a lot of support out there for this. On our website, you can have a look at application guidance, and there's examples of action plans and forms that have already been filled in. There's school stories, there's huge amounts of information on the website. If you want further guidance from us, then you can use the schools@treecouncil.org.uk email address, or if you want to speak to someone about any aspects that you're a bit concerned about, you're not sure what to do, then do give us a call on that number that's on the screen there. You can also, if you've had an email from your regional lead, obviously you can also drop us an email back from that email. The selection criteria is fairly simple. Any state school and youth organisation is eligible to apply for a tree pack. We simply, obviously, as we have said lots of times already, we ask for permission to make sure that you've got permission to plant. If we end up being oversubscribed because we have a finite amount of packs to hand out, we will consider the major aspect of your application, which will be the impact that your project is going to have. So that's the one area that we really want you to think about. We really want to consider what impact is it going to have on your school community, your wider community. How will you be able to take this project forwards? We will also consider the percentage of free school meals as another sort of criteria for selection.
Okay, so next then, training and resources. I think this is what sets the Tree Council apart, maybe from some of our fellow organisations and charities. Like I said, I've been working in this field for around 7 years. Tree Council was the first one that I got involved with, where rather than just saying, have some trees, go forth, actually sort of asked questions about what you're going to do with the trees, how you're going to look after the trees, and then actually offered support and training resources to follow that up. So let's have a little look at some of what you can get. So for the starter pack, again, we would really love it if you all went for the project packs, but if for whatever reason you don't have the space or the time, then please at least go for a starter pack. The starter pack is a reduction in the amount of support you can get. Obviously, the key is for the project packs, but you still do get support. In the tree packs, you'll get a 5 fruit trees to plant. That's how we started at Shinfield, and a hedgerow pack of 60 trees. Again, we took those and we made a small hedge. There is online support for all of the activities that you'll need, all the planting and the care. That's all going to be there. There's also the online resources which you can access, and you still have complete access to all the competitions we run, Speaking Up and the Story in Nature.
For the project packs, there are a range of different tree packs that you can choose from, and an option of getting a hedgerow pack as well. You'll get a tech bundle, which we'll explain shortly. You'll also get online support. There's a whole host of teacher training webinars available. There's a lot of different resources that you can use with children that are all prepared, and lots of ideas for you. We hold competitions throughout the year. One of them is Speak Up for Trees and Nature, which is held in the summer term. And there is a Story in Nature competition, which your children can also apply and enter. We have in-school training and pupil workshops, dependent on your availability. And we have ambassador masterclass workshops online. And we will be having a Touring Force for Nature exhibition, which you may be involved with.
So with the project pack, you get this tech bundle. So the tech bundle consists of a microphone and a microscope, and then access to a suite of apps and lots of guidance that comes with that. So the resources that we have for workshops that we use with schools have been designed to utilize these pieces of tech. So things like the microscopic camera can be used to look at the more intricate details of leaves or the bark of the trees and things like that could then be helped to develop within art projects or within science projects. The microphones can be used to record sounds, so that could be linked to the Speaking Up for Nature task that we're going to go into in a bit, or it could be linked to things like one of your sharing projects, which could be to create a tree trail within your grounds. You also get, as part of this, things like blindfolds and stickers, and the blindfolds are great for accessing nature using different senses that you wouldn't always use.
Okay, I may have mentioned it. Projects. Okay, it's all about the projects. It really is. That's where it's at. Again, you've got the same trees, but you just get so much more sport and so much more tech. So resources wise, tons more support, tons more booklets, tons more tech to look at. You're not going to get, unfortunately, that if you're only a starter pack. If you, again, though, you could do the starter pack this year. Don't want to put you off completely, but you could do the starter pack this year and then go to the project pack next year. But we're really trying to encourage people to look at the project packs, and also the training as well, online and also in person. So yeah, we're very fortunate. We have partnerships with the Speakers Trust. They will come out. Well, actually, there's do an online teach your children how they can speak up and be a voice for nature, and that will really help if you're going to take part in some of the competitions. Some really impressive entrants last year, where children were able to articulate their voice and come across so very eloquently. And then you have the other three as well there. So just literally, if you're able to, projects.
the Speakers Trust help us to deliver speaking up workshops. I had this in one of my schools last year. It was brilliant. Children that were quite nervous and unsure about speaking about trees and nature in front of their peers gained confidence throughout the 6-hour session. And by the end of the day, all of them had a speech ready that they could share for the competition.
So you also get access to ambassador masterclasses. So we have senior ambassadors who are young people, aged generally between 16 and their mid-20s, who are forces for nature in themselves. They have maybe set up a charity, or they are working with charities to support and enhance engagement within nature. They will run these as webinars generally on a lunchtime. And last year, these 4 were the 4 webinars that were run, and they were run by different ambassadors, sort of like utilising their specialities to engage students in a variety of different ways that can help you with your projects. And there are lots more ideas to come in 2024.
Okay, so achieving beacon status. This is really what you want to be aiming for if you can. We got beacon status at our school 2 years ago, and then outstanding the summer previous. Really makes a huge difference. It's really great for the kids in the school to get that, you know, the sense of achievement. Again, the other brilliant thing about applying for beacon status is it doesn't cost any money. We've also Green Flag, and as you're probably aware, Green Flag is brilliant as it is for the eco schools. You have to apply every year and give them money every year. We're not going to make you do that here at the Tree Council, very fortunately. So once you've applied for your beacon status, you're a beacon school, and you'll stay a beacon school until you get to the stage where you go full crazy, like I have in Sheffield, or some of the schools that Emma's worked in, and then you'll become an outstanding beacon school. But it's just so, obviously, you need to complete the project to become a beacon school. You can't obviously become a beacon if you're halfway through. That wouldn't look too brilliant. And it's all about sharing your success. You've got to make sure that you publicize what you've done. Okay, it's key. Is get it out. Even if your school doesn't have social media, we do have a media platform on the Tree Council where you can shout about things, and like-minded, brilliant tree people like yourselves will be able to see that, and it'll encourage everybody to you know, to up their game and think, right, okay, I can achieve this. So yeah, it's just really, really important. And once you achieve beacon status, they just keep giving you trees. You don't have to take them, but if you're like me, I just keep taking them. So yeah, you can just, every year you get more trees, more tech. So it's really, really vital if you want to continue on the journey and to make a real difference, is to apply for the beacon status in June. So at this point, I was going to say, Katie, she's come back on.
I feel like I've got to try and do something, guys, because you guys are doing all the work. So yeah, thank you so much for all that information so far. Hopefully we haven't overloaded you with facts and information. I see that we've got one question in the Q&A function. If anyone has any others, please feel free to pop them in that Q&A. The question that's come in: are tree packs available for family hubs which cater to children and young people? You can certainly apply for a tree pack if you can evidence that young people will be involved in the planting and the care for them. So if it's going to be with young people at the heart, then certainly I would say you can apply. One other thing that I will mention in terms of the Tree Council is that we also offer other grants for, that's me mixing up the name and the word grant, other grants for community organisations called branching out grants, and they can be, they're quite popular with community organisations, and they can be for larger sums to cover bigger planting plans. But if this is your first experience in tree planting, you might not want to go for a bigger planting plan anyway. So if you can evidence that young people are going to be at the heart of it, they're going to be involved in the planting, they're going to be involved in the care, then I would say yes, please put an application in. We will be sharing a recording of the presentation at the end, so that will have all of the slides with all of that information in. Certainly that's not a problem at all. And like we said, any questions, once you've digested them, once you've had a think, any questions that do crop up, please do just let us know. That's no problem at all. So
a little tip from me, having been in 2 schools that have both been young tree championship schools, is spend a bit of time on the website, having a look round, have a look at what other schools have done. Your project could be a major big project. My first school, we did a big pond planting area. My second school, we did a meadow with 5 fruit trees. So have a look at what others have done. It's a really great thing to be involved with.
Yeah, thanks, Emma. That's a good point. We don't want the project to be intimidating. We have the connect, learn, care and share approach that we hope is really useful in developing those deeper connections. But it doesn't need to be that you have to do massive tasks for each of those. There could be 4 activities throughout the year, 1 for each, 1 connect, 1 learn, 1 care, 1 share. And your connection activity might be to do with the planting of the trees themselves. Your care activity could be the caring, how the trees are cared for. So in terms of, and if you are lucky enough to get a Speakers Trust workshop, which will be given to schools depending upon availability of Speakers Trust personnel, that will tick the share box as well. So we don't want this to be a task. We understand how busy you all are. We don't want it to be something that's really onerous. We want it to be something that is achievable, that is engaging, and that really helps develop those connections. Okay, we will keep an eye on the Q&A, and we will have another pause as well for more questions. So we will move on.
Okay.
And Matt's going to tell us a bit more about.
Put my other hat on now. Mr. Ben has come back. Okay, so I've got my head of ecology hat on now. Yeah, so Sheffield St Mary's Junior have been on quite a journey, and you may notice at the bottom there, don't panic, this is a huge project, you won't be expected to emulate this. I added that earlier because Emma was like, Matt, this is really daunting, don't just wade in with this, you're going to scare people. So this is where you could aim for. Obviously this has taken me 7 years to get to this stage, and actually, well, with the Tree Council 3 years, but my school 7 years. So yeah, don't freak out. You do not have to do this, don't panic. So we've got an aerial shot here of our Miyawaki project. Now, this was a monster project. So that's 2,000 saplings went into this tree, all provided by the Tree Council, which is very kind of you. Thank you. And I actually worked with my local council as well. They provided us with 40 tons of mulch for free and 2,000 guards and stakes for free. So it literally cost us nothing other than the time to do it. It massively improved the biodiversity around the area. It really, I need to get some up-to-date photos, because this was done in April and you couldn't see the trees out of the protections, but now they're 4 times the height of the protections, because we've used the Miyawaki method. I won't get too sciencey with you, but effectively it's named after a Japanese botanist called Akira Miyawaki, and the premise is that if you prepare the ground with lots of nutrients and aerate it and get it ready, and you water it regularly, you don't trim the trees, you keep them tight, then they will all compete with each other, go upwards rather than outwards, and you'll get a mature forest within 20 to 30 years. And it is working. I'm amazed. It's taller than me, and it's only been in for 4 months. So if you fancy a really big project, this is the one. It was led by the whole school. I'm lucky enough, again, like I said, that I get to teach ecology, which is kind of a random thing itself in a primary school. But we have a rota where every class gets to come out. So literally every child in our school would have planted trees in that forest, and they have part of the onward care. And it's obviously, you can see to the left side there, we've now put a trail in to really get the children so they can appreciate it. On the left hand side there, I don't know if you've managed to read that at all. That was our recent Ofsted. So in June, I've never seen this before. So I've been teaching for 13 years, it'll be now, and I've never even seen ecology mentioned in ours or anyone else's Ofsted. But this was half the front page of our Ofsted report. They really, really loved it, and what they noticed was that it was embedded, and it wasn't just kind of a, we love trees, that's it. You know, there was actually some purpose to it. The children were very, very knowledgeable. The Ofsted inspectors were able to talk to children and really find out in-depth information, and that's all come about because of the workshop, the training, and all of the other stuff that the Tree Council has given me, so that I can then impart to other teachers and other children. So, you know, massive kudos for the Tree Council there.
And just one thing to mention there, in terms of Miyawaki method, obviously Matt is very knowledgeable about environmental ecology, etc. But we are very lucky at the Tree Council to have an awful lot of very knowledgeable scientific experts, researchers, people who have worked their whole lives with trees. And so they share their knowledge with me, with us as a team, and with the schools as well. So in terms of the training that you'll receive, you can get all sorts of information that will fascinate you, and hopefully your young tree champions as well. And there are all sorts of different methods, bulletins, Substack articles, webinars that we will use to share that information with you as well.
Yeah, it's important to know, I guess, that actually a year ago, I didn't even know what a Miyawaki was. So I remember Ian, he's in charge of the expert large plantings, was like, "Oh, have you thought about a Miyawaki?" And I'm like, "A Miyawaki?" So that's how we started, and yeah, and then it became a rabbit hole. Let's say if you're into trees, that's definitely the way to go. Okay, so then moving on, the benefits and challenges. So there's some photos, just as you can see, you can't even see the trees in the top left there, but you definitely can now. These are all the children involved. We have our own composting. We also have get free compost from our local recycling centre. They help out community clubs and things. That was our first batch of horse chestnuts down there on the left-hand side. And then we also, aside from trees, we do grow a lot of food as well. So we donate hundreds of kilos every year to food banks. With squashes seem to be our thing. They grow prolifically on our side. So the benefits, connections to nature, obviously really, really important. Getting the children out there to appreciate their surroundings. We're teaching them tangible skills. It's not just here's a tree, there you go, off you go, son, you'll be all right. It's literally teaching them the ins and the outs and why it's important to do certain things with trees and caring for them, and why we need to include them in our ecosystems and really be custodians of them. It's real life. We obviously learn together, all the children and the adults. Quite often now the children know more than the adults, I'd say, quite often in my school, because they're sponges and they will take all this information in. So then maybe challenges was linking it into the curriculum. For the first 4 years of doing this, I found it really hard because there is no national curriculum for ecology or sustainability. But the Tree Council gives you lots of useful resources, and with just a bit of tweaking you can then easily slot those in to either mathematics. I've used computing. Art is a really good one to use, and English, obviously, writing, for poetry and for spoken word. Issue now, how do we get bigger? How can we get bigger? I've done 4,000 trees. I don't know if I can get bigger. My site manager, I think, is going to probably bury me with the trees if I keep going. But 4,000 trees is quite a number. Again, do not worry, you do not have to plant 4,000 trees. Watering is a big issue. Again, you do need to water them at least a bit, because they won't survive if it's a hot summer and you leave them to their own devices. The chances are you are going to get a large number die. So it's not that you have to water them every day. That's the Miyawaki method. But if you want them to survive, you're going to have to think about organising a watering rota. Maybe over the summer, the way we did it before we got the irrigation was we got a teacher to say, right, can you come in with a hose? Can you do that for like an hour that week? And then so we spread it out. So it's about having a plan and not just sort of hitting that point and going, oh dear, we've got a lot of trees and no one to water them. Pests, again, if your school or your area is not completely secure, then you're going to have issues with deers and rabbits. They love saplings, so you need to use guards. But if you've got a fence wire around, you should be absolutely fine, to be honest. And therefore you won't need the guards and the stakes. Tree nurseries, make sure you keep the mice and the birds out. We lost a lot in the first year to those. They love the sweet chestnuts. And then finally, weeds. Yeah, you have to weed regularly to make sure that the trees don't get swamped in long grass or thistles, because they will obviously compete for the nutrients, the light and the water. So that in itself is very important.
I'm just going to really briefly mention, you mentioned links to the curriculum there, Matt. If you look on our website, you will see curriculum related resources, a sample of them. We are developing more on that different age ranges, different subject areas, and they will hopefully be on our website, updated, searchable by subject, by age range, by Connect Lancashire, within this autumn term. by the time you get your trees. So you can use them, you can dip into them, you can tweak them. There'll be PowerPoints, there'll be worksheets, there'll be all sorts of different things that hopefully will make it that little bit easier for you.
That's fantastic. As I say, 4 years ago when I started, doing myself. Okay, so final stage, branching out, excuse the pun. Yeah, so that's our community nursery. And again, we're not expecting everyone to have a community nursery. I'll be very fortunate. I seem to just keep stuck. I'm a womble by trade, so people would be like, "I've got a load of shelving. Would you like it?" Yes, please. I've got a load of pot. Yes, please. I don't think I've ever turned anything down, but I try and recycle and reuse everything I can. It was pointed out that that's pretty sizable, and actually most people won't have that. So again, if you want to do a tree nursery, you could just do it in a very small area. You don't have to grow 400 trees. That's just me and mad people, or maybe that's all of us together. And also we're going to be expanding that across Wokingham, five schools in the hub. So we're going to share resources, and I'm going to go into those 4 other schools, and then we can pull together, collect seeds from our different schools, because we do have different trees, which is really great. And then we can do tree swaps, so when they get going, and then hopefully one of us, well, it'll be me, that will have the irrigated provision there. So I will take any that don't end up getting planted, so we can keep them alive and they can go on. Again, in the summer, I'm looking at running an eco festival, again, to just celebrate all the amazing schools in my area, to come in and to show what they're doing, really. I think it's important that we jump and shout about what we're doing. And that's actually the next one, the wildflowers. So we're going to get sponsored by the RSPB, purely because they saw the show pony on TV shouting about trees, doing about the Miyawaki forest, and that, in itself is really great. Spreading the message, getting people to take interest in what you're doing is really, really important, because we're trying to get, it's not a competition, we're trying to get as many people as possible involved in this. And then finally, the Department for Education are now starting to show a strong interest in ecology and in tree growing and other areas such as that. I don't think it'll be too long before we actually get a white paper come out, and they'll be actually directing schools to do it. At the minute, we have a paper out that says you should probably do it, but and which is a bit airy. So I think really, hopefully, the DfE will step up and match our counterparts of Wales, and then hopefully we will all be given some resources for carrying it out in some curriculum time. That is Shinfield, but do not panic.
Okay, so we have some key dates. The 3rd of November is our deadline for applications. If we receive a high volume beforehand, we may close earlier. So please do apply as soon as possible. The 7th of November, we should be emailing successful applicants so they can celebrate. We will then have a range of online training opportunities to support you in planning and planting your trees. From the 9th of January, successful schools will receive their tree packs. This is later than the National Tree Planting Week, which is the beginning of December. But because of the warmer weather this year, the tree planting will be delayed very slightly. But we will be sharing things that you can do to celebrate National Tree Week and Tree Planting Week in December. From January, we will have in-school training and workshops. The 1st of June is that deadline to apply for Beacon School status.
So, before you apply, just make sure that you've got permission and space to plant trees, or space for a container pack for your trees. You need to decide whether you're going to be a starter pack or a project. Obviously, you get a lot more from a project, so you should be a project. Obviously, read through the guidance on the website, check the project tools and support that's available to you. You're going to need to start thinking about recruiting your young tree champions. That could be from Eco Club or Gardening Club, or it could be a year group if you're doing a specific project. However it's going to work for you in your school. You'll need to complete the application form, which has huge amounts of guidance throughout, so don't panic. But if you do panic, just get hold of us, ask us. We're all here to help you out. And then hopefully you will be ready and prepared to plant in January.
So a big thank you for sticking around and hearing all of that information. We've got one more question in the Q&A, but if you've got any now, rack your brains, think if there's anything that you want to ask before looking at our website, before completing your application, then do ask now. One thing that I'm just going to really briefly mention, if you don't want to necessarily, you don't have to plant 400 tree seeds or more that Matt has done, but it is seed gathering season. So it's the perfect time. It's a great way to start engaging your young people in nature, or to continue that journey if you're already on it. And we've got, as the Tree Council, we've done some webinars on that recently, which you can find on our website and on our YouTube channel. But it's a really fun one, going out foraging for seeds, doing float tests to see if they're going to be viable, mashing up berries to get the seeds out of them. It's really practical, really interesting, and it can really start to nurture that love of trees. Could a local authority apply as a lead applicant on behalf of multiple schools? We have had occasions when we have had an individual apply on behalf of multiple schools. Sometimes it's been a trust where it's been an eco lead or a green lead for the trust. If you are to do that, it's really important that you have spoken to that school, obviously, about it, that they understand the implications, that they are able to support with pupils planting and caring for the trees. We don't want it to be something that, it's lovely to have enthusiastic adults in the school, but we don't want it to be something that is led by those. We'd love it to be something that's led by young people. So make sure that the school's got all that support in place, and really importantly, that there is a lead person at that school who will be the go-to, who will receive the delivery, who will make sure that the box of trees is not put in a corner for 3 weeks and won't make it. So there are points on the application form that ask you for different contacts. So there's a lead contact, and then there's a school delivery contact, etc. So it would be important to make sure that you would have someone other than yourself, if you're a central person applying for multiple schools in your trust or local authority, that each one of those applications will also have the name of somebody else who is the lead in that school. So we know that there's a driving force behind it. Hope that makes sense. And like we said, you know, some people will maybe start on their journey. That project might seem intimidating, in which case please do consider the starter pack, but we are all here to support, and we will really help you with applications. We will help you with activity ideas for what those 4 activities could be, and with the tree planting, tree care included in that. If you take part in our Speaking Up competition, it's not actually a great deal more, but the benefits can be. So we really do hope that you will join us on the Young Tree Champions journey. We do really hope that you'll submit an application, and that you will let us know if there's any questions that you have, or any other support that you need to do that.